Richard Arnold provides Manchester United takeover update. Ollie does first interview since leaving the club. And Mason Greenwood set not to return to Manchester United. These are all the things we will be discussing on today's show. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. So let's start off with this takeover update. This is coming out in the last half an hour or so via Adam Crafton, who is a journalist for The Athletic in the UK. Now, as you may or may not know, there was an emergency meeting that took place on Monday at Carrington with the CEO, John Murtagh, Richard Arnold, and the United staff and all of the people at the club. And there were lots of different topics that were to be discussed. Things like Anthony, things like the takeover, other things like that, Mason Greenwood. There was all sorts of things that needed to be ironed out. And in that meeting, Man United's chief executive, Richard Arnold, told all staff members that the strategic review over the future of the club remains ongoing, urging staff to hang tight and be resilient. He then goes on to say, where there are big numbers involved, that always takes a bit of time to work through to get to the right arrangements and everything to be done. So he's still saying that this strategic review, as they're calling it, not a takeover at this point. Those are the words that have always been used by the Glazers, by the people around the Glazers, the Rain Group and all those other people, a strategic review of the club. So he is still saying it's still ongoing. He's telling the staff to be resilient, to hang tight, to wait, because there is growing fears amongst the people at Carrington that what is going on? Are their jobs going to be safe? Is the new owners coming in? Is there not going to be new owners come in? Imagine if you're at a workplace, right? And there's a chance that you're going to lose your job. I mean, that's not very nice for anybody. You know, I'm talking about the lower down people at Carrington. I'm not talking about Eric Ten Hag or, you know, the assistant managers or people like that. I'm talking about the kit people, the chefs, the people who work in and around Carrington day to day. He then goes on to say that right long-term capital structure for their future ambitions. So Manchester United require the right long-term capital structure for their future ambitions. So he's still keeping it relatively hush-hush. Obviously, there are non-disclosure agreements in place, so we're not expecting Richard Arnold to come out and tell us exactly what's going on. But he is saying that things are happening. There is still some stuff to work through. Obviously, because there's large numbers involved, you know, this is going to be a £5 to £6 billion transaction for a football club. That it's always going to take time to get to the right place, to get to a fee that everybody's happy with. He then also goes on to say that he's asked a further question about the consequences of an outcome to the strategic review that sees no change of ownership, so that'll be the Glazers staying. He essentially answered the question by saying that staff should run their affairs as business as usual, urging employees to hang tight, show resilience, and keep delivering. I mean, I was looking for a little bit more from that question, to be honest. Like, do they realise what's going to happen if they stay? Like, it's not going to be pretty, is it? To say hang tight, show resilience, and keep delivering. The fact that it was somebody at Carrington who asked Richard Arnold what he expected the consequences to be if they were to stay, and he just comes out of that. I mean, it's not very hopeful, is it? He says also, while Richard Arnold acknowledges that City are setting the standard across Europe, he said that Manchester United have demonstrated in the past year that they are closing in and making progress, adding that United are chasing down their rivals. I mean, that's the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard. If they genuinely think we're chasing down Manchester City, then they're more deluded than I ever expected. Like, that is complete crap, to be completely honest with you, isn't it? We are nowhere near Manchester City. We're nowhere near Arsenal. We're nowhere near Liverpool. Yeah, so that's a load of rubbish. It then goes on to say that Richard Arnold said that Manchester United took encouragement from their first season under Eric Ten Hag, and they believe that they have a successful transfer window this summer, but also conceded that change takes time and sometimes requires pain before results fully come to fruition. I mean, I agree with that, but I don't think under these current owners we're going to see this fruition that he's talking about. I think it would just be battling for top four every single year. Obviously, the Bloomberg journalist came out yesterday as well and said that they're expecting an update on the result of the takeover in the next couple of weeks. We had Fabrizio also come out yesterday saying that things are happening behind the scenes at the moment with the takeover, but because of the non-disclosure agreement, both parties are not giving anything away. So there are things going on. We're going to get a conclusion, I think, in the next couple of weeks. Whether it will be a new owner, I don't know at the moment. I would say it's 50-50. I would say it's 50% chance the Glazers will stay, or 50% chance they'll either stay with Ineos or sell to Sheikh Jassim. I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see what happens with that one. But do let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comment section below. Let's talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjær really quickly then. So obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjær has done his first proper interview since being sacked as the Manchester United manager. And he ultimately says that each summer he was only allowed to sign 3 players. And those 3 players every summer were not the players that he actually wanted. You know, they weren't his first choice options. Apparently he wanted to get Haaland, which we know. Apparently he wanted to get Jude Bellingham, which we know, and he didn't get him. So he was kind of throwing the Glazers under the bus here, saying that, you know, he didn't get the signings he wanted. He was only allowed to get 3 players each year, and they weren't necessarily the people that he actually wanted. They were people that were kind of mentioned by the club, you know. He thinks that, you know, his time at Manchester United was good and that the only thing that was lacking was a trophy. I don't know. I disagree with that. I don't think... he says we wanted Jude Bellingham badly. We wanted Declan Rice. We wanted Moises Caicedo. And ultimately, he didn't get any of those players. So he's kind of trying to get himself out from that pit of a failed manager to say, I wanted all of these people. I didn't get them. But if you look at it just on a black and white level, it shows that, you know, at Manchester United, they don't always get the players that they're expecting to get. They don't get their number 1 targets. We've seen that this summer. Obviously, he wanted Harry Kane, Erik ten Hag, and we got Rasmus Højlund. We know that he wanted Kim Min-jae. He didn't get a centre-back at all. We know that he wanted, a midfielder really earlier on in the window, and he got a loan signing of Amrabat on deadline day. So you get where I'm going with this. Obviously, it's one of those ones. Let me know what your thoughts are, though, on these comments from Ole Gunnar Solskjær. Do you think he's fair to criticise the Glazers for only getting 3 signings each year and for not getting the players he supposedly wanted? Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think this is just him being a little bit bitter, or do you think there's some truth in it? I think there's some truth, but I also think he's a little bit bitter because he did get sacked. He doesn't have a job, and he's been out of football for about 2 years. He does, however, say that apparently he got a job offer from Saudi Arabia. I mean, is that anything really to shout about? I mean, I don't know. It's a bit embarrassing, really, isn't it? Just touching on this Mason Greenwood story as well. So Richard Arnold, in this meeting on Monday, the emergency meeting at Carrington, was also asked about Mason Greenwood. And apparently this is the outcome of the Greenwood saga. So wait for this. It says, Arnold was asked directly whether he could promise staff that Mason Greenwood would not return to the team. Richard Arnold replied, there's no expectation of Mason Greenwood to play for Manchester United. So he hasn't completely ruled it out. He says there's no expectation at the moment, but things can change, can't they? We know what football's like. A new owner, somebody else comes in, who knows? Anything can happen. But let me know what your thoughts are on everything we've discussed in today's show. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Ole Gunnar Solskjær comments. Let me know what you think about Richard Arnold's quotes from the emergency meeting on Monday, talking about the takeover, talking about Mason Greenwood, and also what you think about him saying he thinks we're close to Man City. I mean, that's a load of rubbish, isn't it? Let me know in the comment section below. This has been Daily Red Devil. I've been Kieran. Please do make sure to smash a like and subscribe on your way out, and I'll catch you all later.